Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance! The fairy tale season has the happiest ending!
Okay, so this episode again is sponsored by the brilliant Magic Rock Brewing. We'll be announcing some new events coming up soon at Magic Rock, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Magic Rock, for me personally, the perfect pre-match venue, covering you for beers, and there's some superb food as well that you can get there pre-match, and it's just a little jaunt away from the stadium as well, so if you've not been to the tap rooms in either Home Firth or Birkby, check them out. Right, hello and welcome to a special lockdown episode of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Lockdown and social distancing means that we can't get together around the table to chew the fat, but we can get together on Skype. Joining me, Matt, today, we have Kosi, Simon, Neil, and a very warm welcome back to the podcast to Huddersfield Town owner and chairman, Phil Hodgkinson. So good evening, chaps.
Good evening. Evening.
Hi, Matt.
A big warm welcome back to Neil as well. Good to see you back there as well. And you've been back by popular demand as well, I think.
Ridiculous. Who are you? Exactly. Nice to be back, fellas. Thank you.
Excellent. How are we all doing? How are we all coping with lockdown for a start? For me, it's not too bad for me because I work from home generally anyway, so I'm not too bad. I think the difficult thing for me is having a 2-year-old who's usually at nursery running around and causing havoc while I'm trying to do stuff. But it's his birthday tomorrow, so there's not a lot we can do for him. But it is what it is, I guess, isn't it? So how about you guys? What's going down? I'd like to think Phil's in a bunker underneath the stadium somewhere, but that's not the case.
No, I'm at home. I'm at home, but it's where we sent all of our staff home. About 515 staff. They've all been working from home since 2 weeks ago. Some we've staged it, and and then the football club, we've done the same thing now, and it's a bit of a waiting game, to be honest with you. I think everyone's waiting to see what's going to happen, but there's also lots of other things, and I'm sort of in a bit of a receive mode at the minute. There's only so much that I can do. I'm waiting for the people. All of our big, from a non-football perspective, all of our sort of big contacts and suppliers have all gone into lockdown. So everything's just paused. It's quite surreal. And from a football side of things, it's again, everything's on pause. Everyone's at home. There's no football being played. We're waiting for daily updates we get from the EFL and so on, and it's spending a lot of time waiting. So I've never done so much exercise. I'm lucky that I've got a gym at home, and I'm doing about 13 miles a day on the treadmill and walking around the house. And I haven't got a 2-year-old, but I've got a 7-stone dog that's used to being in daycare while I'm at work, and he's a much bigger pain in the backside than a 2-year-old. I think literally, I've never ever. My son never needed this much playing with when he was a kid, let's put it that way. So, yeah.
I can vouch for the fact that he is very loud. He's very, very loud.
So building on Canalside had to stop as well.
We've got it as far as we could. We've had to pause it now, but I mean, we're literally we were literally weeks away from finishing it, so it's nearly there. This current phase, which is we finished the new Desso pitch. That was all done and dusted, and October I think we started using that. But then that's a replica of the stadium pitch, but it's got undersoil heating, sprinkler systems, floodlights, the whole thing. So with all the work that we've done, the services coming in aren't enough to cope with. We've not got enough electricity, we've not got enough water, we've not got enough gas. So we've had to have new services put in, build a new services centre, build new groundsman's buildings, security huts at the top. We're moving the security gates to the road, more car parking, tarmacking, all kinds of things. And we've relayed all 3 of the academy pitches, so we've spent quite a lot of money on the 3 academy pitches, so they're all brand spanking new now, and they've all got their own facilities up there. So yeah, I mean, we've now got I think the Desso pitch when finished would have been a million miles shy of just over 2 million on its own just for that one pitch. And then all the other bits and pieces. So yeah, I mean, over the last 2 years, I think we'll probably, including this season and the 2 seasons in the Premier League, I don't know the exact figure, but I'm pretty confident we'll have invested well over 10 million in Cowleys in those 3 seasons, well over.
It's such a surreal time. I mean, the Leeds game feels like, I don't want to mention it again, but if you'd have said to me then, 40,000, I don't know how many were there, 40,000, that'd be, I never saw anything about any football finishing in a few more days, not to mention never getting back. I can't get my head around it all. I don't know what everyone else is thinking. It's come like from a bolt out of the blue. It's just surreal. And I think my idea of hell is stuck in a flat and having no sport on is finally here. And God, it's horrendous, isn't it? Neil, can you believe it? From Ellen Road to this, it feels like months since we had a game of football, doesn't it?
Not a great one to finish on either, was it? To be honest, pretty awful. But yeah, it's I'll be honest, it's sort of bypassed me. I've not missed it like I thought I would. I think you get a bit of a reality check in that, you know, without wanting to go too heavy about it, but people are out there dying, aren't they? This is a worldwide epidemic, and people are out there dying. So football just becomes a bit sort of peripheral to all that, and it sort of loses its meaning. I think the difficulty is for people like Phil, who, as much as we're just the fans and we can rock up and go away and we've got a rest of the life to look after, Phil's actually looking after, you know, the football club. So, you know, there's God knows how many staff who are just like me and you. It's, you know, looking after houses and kids and whatever else, and that's the difficulty. So I think all that for me is overtaken the want or the need to actually see any football.
Phil, what have you made some of the comments coming out? I think, is it Leeds who hinted about wage cuts if we don't get the show back on the road soon? Another club, I can't remember it was. Is it
Birmingham? Yeah, Birmingham and Leeds they've both done it. It's inevitable. I'm struggling to see when, you know, football will start again, and the reason it's not just. First of all, we've got this global pandemic, and no one knows when it's going to get to a point whereby it settles down, it's dealt with, or to a point whereby, you know, people can interact again. It could be weeks, it could be months, and then obviously, you know, people are talking about playing games behind closed doors. But one of the main things that they've forgotten is that to play a football match, a professional football match, you have to have at least one ambulance at every single ground. You have to have a certain number of qualified medical staff and doctors. Where are they going to come from? Because they're going to be dealing with this. So I'm struggling. You couldn't at this moment in time and for the foreseeable future even play games behind closed doors, because there's no way that the NHS would be able to have. There's 46 league games 3 times a week. Where are they going to get 46 ambulances from? Ambulance staff, you know, we've got club doctors, but they work for the NHS or privately. They're involved. St John's Ambulance, they've all been called back in. So how do you put a game on? It is the reality of it, and there's a lot of things like that actually affect being able to play games. It's not a simple solution. It's inevitable. You know, when you look at all football clubs, barring a very small amount, they are owned by people like me who have got a business, and the profit in the business is generally what pays for it. There are some that have sold the businesses. There are some that are, you know, that own large countries full of oil that it maybe doesn't have an effect on, but. You know, you look at other clubs that are owned by betting companies, and the betting companies are the biggest sponsors in the top 2 divisions, and no one's betting on football, so their revenues are going to get hammered. And for me, it's inevitable. I think that you know, all clubs if this goes on for 2-3 months, which it's looking like it's going to be, then there's very few clubs. Barcelona have asked their players to take a wage deferral. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think it's inevitable. You've got to look at it, and the reality is that that's going to probably have to come into it for every single club. Certainly, there are very few clubs in the Championship. Leeds are top of the league, and they've done it, and they've done it early. They've not, they've probably done it early because they've had no choice but to do it. Same with Birmingham. So that tells you, what you need to know. From our perspective, yeah, I mean, for me, it's you have to look after things in the right order. My job and the board's job in my company and at the football club, it's not just me by any stretch of the imagination. I've got really good people in my business, and we've got really good people at the football club. But the priority, you've got to work from abject panic backwards. So you've got to work from what's the worst thing that can happen, and then you've got to work backwards and go, well, what can we do to make that easier? So, look, my first priority is I've got 515 staff in my business, and my business is what we've got. We do technology, all kinds of things. People can go on the website, but what our products is, we get funding for the work that we do, but we only get it because it's insured, and it's a very specific insurance product. And our main insurer is Chinese. So they all went home 6 weeks ago. So we've had no insurance for our products for 6 weeks. So we've got no money coming into our business at this moment in time. It hit us first because our biggest insurer was Chinese. We've got our funder is a bank, and they don't fund us as a business. We don't have any borrowings per se, but they fund our customers' loans to progress cases. Every single funding organisation in the world has pressed pause. They've all saying we're sitting on our cash until we see how this plays out because the stock market's gone mental. So the reality is, our insurance is there, but we can't use it. Our funding is there, but we can't use it at the moment. I don't know when that's going to get switched back on. So basically, every single spare penny that I've got has gone back into my business to pay the wages, because I've got to make sure there's a business there for all my staff to come back to, because they're the most important thing when this is over. And we'll look at all the things that are available from the government as well, and we've just got to get through it, because the reality is, as soon as everyone presses play again, it's back to normal, and we're back making money, and it's all good, and everyone's got a job, and it's fantastic. And the football club's no different. My job and the two respective boards of directors' job is to make sure that whenever this is over, I've got a business, and my staff have all got jobs, and we've got a football club, and all the staff have still got jobs. That's what that looks like. I don't know what it's going to look like. This could be over in 3 weeks. It could be over in 3 months. But as long as there's still a football club there, and as long as there's still a business there, that's your first job, to make sure that can happen. And then it's about making that better. So, making sure that it's a football club that can compete, and making sure it's a business that can make profit and so on. So you've got to work back from that situation. But you've got to bear in mind that 95% of football owners have got a business of differing scales, and every business is suffering. You look at Man United, the Glazer family. I think their biggest business is shopping malls, shopping centres in America. They're all shut. Now, Man United are a little bit of a different picture, because generally they take money out of it rather than put money into it. But they've got something like 672 million quid's worth of debt still. That's come from banks, and all of the banks are freezing lending. So what happens, worst case scenario for a Man United or even a Liverpool, because Liverpool's owners have got businesses, they own other sports clubs and so on. And whilst Liverpool's owners may not have put the money in to build their new stands, they'll have had to underwrite it. Now, what if that funder calls that money in? What if Man United's bank lenders have to pull that money back to put into the American economy or the British economy, and they call in that loan? So it can affect every club. It can affect practically every club, probably apart from Man City.
Phil, do you think if, say, it goes on for 3 months, like it sounds like it could do you think we'll still have 91 professional football league clubs at the end of it? Gut feel.
I doubt it. Gut feel, I doubt it. I mean, even
I can't see how you can, purely on the fact that if you've got clubs like Accrington and Crewe and at that level, and I aren't being disrespectful, but at that level, they are solely reliant on 2,000 or 3,000 people rocking up and paying 25 quid and buying a pint and a pie. And hopefully a programme and hopefully a shirt and a badge.
Macclesfield are probably a good example, aren't they, of sailing close to the wind.
Yeah, it's certainly League One and League Two, and certainly a good proportion of the Championship are very reliant on that kind of thing. But moving forward, who's going to want to sponsor shirts? How are you going to get people to put sponsorship in for anything? Everyone's going to. The longer this goes on, the longer people aren't going to want to be. Everyone's going to want to hold on to the cash. What if there's no transfer window? What if there is a transfer window but no one's spending? Because a large proportion of our projected revenue next season was based on transfers, and that'll be the case for the vast majority of clubs outside the Premier League and some in it. The vast majority of your income, your projected income, is based on player sales. Now, we're still in that fortunate position, and there'll be no fire sale. But for those clubs that we're talking about to survive, then they'll probably need all of their players to take wage deferrals or even not be paid for a period. And how many footballers are going to want to do that in reality for a prolonged period of time?
Do you think this could have a knock-on? Sorry, Phil. Do you think this could have a knock-on effect long-term for transfer values as well? So, for example, we'll use one of our own. So, let's say Carlin Grant is probably the one people may or may not be interested in the summer. Say someone may or may not have come in for the summer and may have looked at sort of 20 million. Would that maybe now have a knock-on effect and people come in and value him differently? And maybe people, because there's less money to throw around, does that mean that all of a sudden the transfer values drop through the roof and clubs that survive on transfers now all of a sudden have to find different means because the transfers they thought they would have got will no longer be the case?
But yeah, potentially. So like it's really, no one really knows, but potentially it can be a bad thing. But short term, if that happened, it would be a bad thing for a lot of clubs, including us. But medium, longer term, actually, it's a good thing because there does need to be an equalisation. The amount of money, even at our level, that people get paid and also that you pay for transfers. It has. Look, it's gone crazy over the last 15, 20 years, hasn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, and on the one hand, as a football club owner, I don't really want that to happen because it could have a negative effect on us, definitely, that worst case scenario. But on the other hand, as a supporter, actually, would it not be nice to actually have a situation whereby you go back to a scenario going back 25 years where football was a more level playing field and it was more about ability and how good your manager was rather than how much you could spend on wages and transfer fees? It's not. So it's a double-edged sword.
Phil, have you had any chats with any other chairmen and owners or people in the game?
Yeah. Almost daily. Everyone's feeling it. There's a real a sort of, I wouldn't say across the board, but certainly the Premier League, there's a real push to complete the season, and with the AFL, there's a real push to complete the season as well. So, and whilst I think it's going to be difficult, it feels to me as though the season will finish even if it's at Christmas, which sounds bizarre, but you've got to think about the knock-on effects. You've got so for me, for us, for Huddersfield Town, as a supporter, for lots of reasons that I'm not going to. I'm smiling. For lots of reasons, I think we should just forget this season ever happened and just start again. As a supporter,
I'm on that train for the same reasons. Yeah.
But as a football club chairman, the season's got to finish really because it's the right thing to do. You can't take that away from clubs, and you look at clubs that are in and around the playoff zone, and then you look at clubs that are in and around the relegation zone, and if you were to if you particularly the ability to be promoted, it's not fair. And then if you were to then, some people I've seen on social media talking about work out your average points, etc. But it's a bit, is that the right way to do it? Is that fair? No. You could then argue you could then argue that by the time we get going again, that no one's played a game for 12 weeks. They're not going to be match fit. They're going to be, it's a once in a lifetime event that no one ever thought was ever going to happen.
It's the contract situation which I found interesting, because a lot of contracts will finish on the 30th of June, and what about these players? Obviously, if their contracts
they'll be extended.
Yeah, is that easily done?
It's not easily done, but as long as everyone's on board, I think the PFA and players and so on. The reality is that I personally think, and this, like I say, this might not happen. This is just my thoughts and feelings. I personally think that there will be a natural extension of all contracts until the season concludes. Because the reality is, what are they going to do if they walk away on the 30th of June and there's no transfer window till November? Not going to be able to sign for anybody. So I think that the contracts will be naturally extended. I think that's the only way, if there's an absolute insistence on completing the leagues. And I think if we were halfway through the season, it'd be a different. But we've got 9 games left in the Championship. It's similar in the Premier League and the other divisions. You could have it done and dusted in 30 days. In reality, couldn't you? Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and you're done. But you're then going to get a lot of people saying that's not fair, because everyone's going to have players that aren't match fit. They've not played for 3 months. You're going to get injuries. You're not going to be up to speed, and it's literally flip a coin. Genuinely, that's where we currently are. It's flip a coin. But yeah, I mean, if you were to look at the absolute worst case scenario, if players weren't prepared to take deferrals, then you're going to see a huge number of clubs go out of business within 2 to 3 months, some even quicker. A massive number. If the season finishes late, what if there's no transfer window? If there is a transfer window, what if it's just full of bigger clubs with more money just trying it on because they think that you're desperate for the cash? Yeah, and so many things that could be the worst case scenario. By the same token, half of the population of this country might actually grow up a little bit and stay in, and we might get through it in 30 days and start contemplating getting back to normal sooner rather than later, and then maybe the effect isn't as great. The longer this goes on for, the worse it's going to be at the end, is my opinion. The longer people are able to work, the longer they are able to play games. If it gets past weeks and into months, then I think the ultimate consequences are going to be much more far-reaching and potentially devastating for a lot of football clubs. But you don't know. Trust me, I mean, half of my time while I'm waiting for stuff to happen has been spent on eBay trying to find a DeLorean with a flux capacitor that works, so I can go back in time and maybe change my phone number or something.
2018.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you took over, Phil. If you could see what was coming, you've had a nice season, haven't you?
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
I mean, literally, if you had asked me to list all of the things that could go wrong, they've all happened, and some more on top. So, but you just got to keep. You've just got to keep swinging. You've just got to keep punching. You just got to keep your head down and just keep, solving problems and be determined. And you just got to hope that wherever we end up, and I'm talking about football, not just Huddersfield Town, wherever we end up, you just got to hope that people will still embrace it and people will still, want to be a part of it. And yeah, worst case scenario, the vast majority of football clubs at our level and below, and even some of the smaller Prem clubs, could have to start all over again almost to a degree and rewrite the book. And sometimes it's more exciting and more rewarding to go on a new journey than it is to pick up an old one.
Dean always used to say that he's the custodian of our dreams, whereas that's sort of flipped now, because you're the custodian of a lot of staff and a lot of people's livelihoods. So you've bought at the moment it's just one big ball of pressure that's more than 3 points on a Saturday. It's about keeping ticket office staff and sales staff and other office staff, etc., in jobs. People who work at the training ground, etc., car park attendants, they all rely on this income in some way, shape or form. At that end of the day, that's why we all go to work.
Absolutely.
That's not sugarcoat it, that's what it is. So the pressure must be immense.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a couple of times. I mean, I've got 515 staff in my business sort of relying on me to get it through, and then we've got I think over 200 staff at the football club, and then you've got 20 odd thousand supporters as well. It's just like, what have I done? Why did I do this? But you've just got to
what don't kill you?
Yeah, you've just got to trust that you're going to be able to find the solutions and get through it, and that's all you can do, because the reality is that if I curl up into a ball and don't sleep at night from worrying about it rather than try to get on and find solutions, then it'll all go pear-shaped. You've just got to I've got to keep my head, and all I've got to do is make decisions that are in the best interests of my business and that are in the best interests of Huddersfield Town Football Club, and that, that includes the people, and sometimes those are tough decisions. I mean, the accounts. We'll move on to this, so we may as well move on to it now because it's relevant. The accounts came out today, and once again, I've just seen people reading, and obviously either haven't read them or don't understand them. But we're not in an unfortunate position.
That's me on both, is that, Phil? Because I've not read them and I don't understand them. So question-wise is I'm not in a great place to ask them because I've not had a chance to have a look through them. But from the little things I've seen, I think there are a couple of questions floating around about a 31 million loan is what I've seen online. Are you in a position to clarify anything that's come out? And obviously Kieran Maguire was tweeting about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. So, and there's really 4 or 5 things that sort of box it all off in a nutshell. So first of all, the acquisition of the 75% of the shares in the football club is separate. So you don't buy the shares in the football club from the football club. You buy them from whoever owns the shares. So people are talking about this loan's been used to buy the football club. It's a totally separate thing. The football club accounts and the acquisition of the shares in the football club are 2 separate transactions. So the acquisition of the shares and what I paid for them, that was a transaction between me through one of my businesses and Dean individually. So that money doesn't go in or out of the football club. And when the accounts for my business are filed, which will be later next year, then people will see how much money's gone into that company and out of that company, and they'll be able to put 2 and 2 together and work out where it's gone. Because it
probably won't.
Yeah, not us. You talked to the wrong ones. Yeah.
All right, sorry, I'm making very, very wide assumptions. But look, look, let's deal with the sort of the main points. So you when you look at the accounts, you can see when you add up. So over the 2 seasons in the Premier League, our employee costs alone were 127 million quid. That's just employee costs. That doesn't include what we paid for players. It doesn't include, I don't think it includes the bonuses that we paid at the end of the promotion season, which was significant. It doesn't include, work that we've done on the stadium. And that's all in the account. So when you go through them, you can see how much money we spent, which is when we did the first pod, when I said, the money that we got in the Premier League, you spend it and more, if I'm honest with you, to try and stay in there because you're competing. The important bits are the repayment of the loans to Dean. So I'm going to give page numbers because it just makes life easy. So page 3 of the accounts. So the important bit to know is that at the time, the football club owed Dean £61.4 million. And they were loans to the football club, which is a business, and like any director, you're entitled to take your loans out, providing that the money is there. So the club owed Dean £61.4 million. And then on that same page, next one down, it confirms that as at the date of the end of the accounts, which was when I bought the football club. So I bought the football club after these accounts. It was in July. So I actually, we'd exchanged contracts, but I actually took over ownership of majority shareholding after this year end. It was in July. Okay, so that's quite important to note. So I didn't take out a £31 million loan to buy the club. What you can see is that at that time, the amount owed to Dean had come down to 45 million. So he'd already been repaid in that previous financial year, 16.4 million. And that's, people have missed that. Okay. It then goes on that page to confirm that we then exchanged contracts. We exchanged contracts prior to year end for me to acquire a 75% shareholding in the company, and that went to Pure Sports Consultancy Limited, which is an independent company that's owned and funded by me, and the transaction completed shortly after the year end. So that's why that it's not a football club transaction; it's a person to person or company to person. So as at the 30th of June. Dean had already been repaid over 16 million of those loans. Yeah? That's what everyone's missed. So when you then go back to page 37, which confirms post-balance sheet events, and what it says there is that 15 million is repayable within 5 business days of the last day of the summer 2020 transfer window. Now, we've actually already repaid 11 million of that this season already, as well as Dean's had already had just over 16 million prior to year end. So actually, there's only 4 million of that 15 million due to be paid after this summer's transfer window, if there is one. And Dean will be flexible on that anyway. Dean will never do anything that puts this football club in jeopardy. So if we're in a position whereby there's a delayed summer transfer window, Dean won't call in that 4 million to the letter, because the last thing that we want is for us to have a fire sale. So we don't want clubs thinking that because the club's repaying these loans, it means we've got to sell our players. That's not true. We don't need to enter into a fire sale, and Dean will be flexible. It then goes on to confirm there's another 10 million repayable by the 31st of August. There's another 10 million repayable by the 31st of August, 21 and 22. And then there's another 10 million that's got no fixed repayment date, and repayment is subject to future events taking place. And you can imagine what they are. So in reality, the club owed Dean 61.4 million. He's had 26 of that already, and there's another 24, which would mean that Dean would have been repaid 50 million of the 61.4 that he, in essence, loaned to the club. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing. The loan will have been a forward funding of parachute payment, because when you're in the Premier League, you do your best, but as a club, if you look at the accounts and the money that's gone out the door, we spent more than the 200 million. And so you eat into that first parachute payment already, because you've got deferred transfer fees. So it's actually not as complicated as people make out. So the transaction for me to buy the shares from Dean went through one of my businesses. And obviously when those accounts come out, which will be the end of next year because of accounting periods, people, if they want to be nosy, will be able to see how many millions went in and how many millions went out. But that's loans, and anything that are in these accounts are loans that the football club have taken, is money that the football club owes. It's got nothing to do with me. I can't use football club money. It's a completely separate issue. And yeah, I mean, like I say, when you look at actually what we did spend in the Premier League, a club of our size, with the revenue that we had coming in prior to that, you spend that and probably a bit more to try and stay in there, which we did successfully at the first season. And let's not talk about the second one. And those are the main. Go on, Kosi.
So what you're saying, Phil, then is Aubameyang leads Arsenal, but in a good position to pounce. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
Well, listen. You just don't know, do you? We could be one of those clubs when this all way through that are making £1 million offers for Ronaldo and getting away with it. Who knows? But look, the most important thing is, in all of this is, there's a much bigger picture, and we've got to all get through this together. And it just needs putting to bed now. There's nothing behind the door. There's nothing untoward. It's all there in the accounts. The acquisition of the shares is a separate transaction. It's not in the accounts. A loan hasn't been taken out to buy the football club or any of the other stuff that's sort of bouncing around, and that's how it works. When anyone buys a football club, they buy the shares off whoever has the shares, and it's never the football club that has the shares unless it's a fan-owned club. So it's never in the accounts. People. It's private. It's like anything. I've signed off 2 deals for my company in the last 4 weeks, some significant deals, but I don't want to make them public because it's none of anyone's business. They're really good deals for the company when we start trading again, when this is all over. They're fantastic. But, some people like to talk about it and some people don't. And it's as simple as that. But it's a normal transaction. But yeah, when you're in the Premier League, I'm not going to go through. I won't go through the figures. But if people read the 2 sets of accounts for the 2 seasons in the Premier League that are out there now, you only have to look at the employee costs alone were 127 million quid. You've got a pretty good idea. I mean, what did we spend on players? It was somewhere between 80 and 90 million in those 2 seasons. Yeah, I think it was over 40 in both seasons, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. So you add that. Let's call it 90. You add that to 127. That's 217 before you've kicked off on all your other investments and expenses. 10 million into Canal Side, money into the stadium. If you then add in what's coming in transfers, you're still over the 200 million. You can wrap it up however you want, but it is what it is. So what you do tend to find is that clubs like us and the Norwiches and West Broms of this world, they spend the money and they eat into that first parachute payment as well. Sometimes they've eaten into it in its entirety, and then what they do is there are companies out there there are banks and funding companies that will fund for any football club. They'll forward fund parachute payments, they'll forward fund transfer fees. Some of them they're on balance sheet, and some of them are off balance sheet. And most clubs will use a company that's off balance sheet because it avoids these kinds of questions. No one knows about it. You get 12 as long as you pay that loan back, like any business loan. If you pay a loan back in the same accounting period that you took it out, it doesn't show up in your accounts.
So, what would it mean? Sorry, Matt. What in staying in the Championship and League One, and obviously the job, financial Premier League Championship is a big one. But how crucial is it as to stay up at that dotted line once we get back on the pitch? Financially, is it real big?
Yeah, it's massive. Not so much from the point of view of prize money. It's significant, but when you're in parachute, you don't get the EFL prize money anyway. You get a small proportion of it, so you don't get your parachute payments and the EFL money. So it wouldn't be effective for until the season after next. But it's significant. It's millions. And the reality is that the FFP in League One and League Two is very, very different. So your wage bill can only be a certain percentage of your turnover, but you're talking much smaller numbers. So you then really are restricted on what you can pay players, and it doesn't matter whether you've got the money or not. If you haven't got the revenue, you can't spend it. And it's like I've been saying all along. We aren't in the fortunate position to have a stadium as an asset. We don't own it. And other things that other clubs have that they can add on to the revenue. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to be pulling the catering in-house for next season, whenever it starts. So the catering is going to come in-house because with it being through the stadium company and farmed out, we can't include the revenue or much of the revenue from food and beverages on our turnover, which from an FFP perspective, it hinders us a little bit. It doesn't sound like a lot, but and don't get me wrong, at this moment in time, with what I see on the concourses, I don't think it'd make a big difference. But hopefully next season when we pull it in-house, the products will be of better quality. Because ideally, what you want to do is you want to get people to the stadium earlier, so that they're spending a bit of money on beer with us and food. And so we're going to pull that in-house to try and improve the quality, to try and get people in and around the stadium and spending with us a little bit more. But yeah, it's critical that we're a Championship club, and we still, the ambition for the club is there, but you just have to accept, and it's not a money thing. When we got promoted because we had a manager who had a system that was better than the players that we had, which is what's happening at Leeds. Yeah. Bielsa's way of playing is better. If you look at that Leeds game, if you put those two squads together, I would not say, my personal opinion, that Leeds have got better players than us, barring one or two. I believe that we've got better players in most positions. But on the day, the way that they played, they just outplayed us. It was the way that they played. It wasn't better players for me, honestly. And this is no criticism of our manager or anything at all. Quite the opposite. They just had a better system.
It's like he's sat there with a control pad, isn't it? Just kind of controlling them, like, isn't it? They are amazingly drilled. I agree fully with you. I don't think they're. You look at their side, and they've kind of been building for the last 4 years or so. So they've got a lot of players who've been playing together for quite a while, so they're experienced with each other, and they've just been taught a way of playing similar to we did under David Wagner, and everybody knows where they're supposed to be at a certain point, and it works. And fair play to them, very much so. I was going to ask you a question about what kind of chairman you see yourself being sort of down the line when there's no parachute payments. Do you see yourself as a kind of a Dean Hoyle type who has to drop in direct to loans over the course of sort of 5, 6 whatever? I'm not going to produce a figure out, but I think Dean dropped in around 5-6 million a season or so just to keep things going.
Yeah, that's the plan. That was the plan on day one. It's been temporarily short term. Given a bit of a kick, because obviously I've had to move all of my spare funds back into my business now to make sure that keeps going while this is all going on, you sometimes have to move it around. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. When the opportunity came along to buy the football club, and I said at the time, it probably came 12 months too early for me. So I think when Dean did it, Dean was going through the sale of his business, and it was kind of happening. Whereas I'm sort of going through my business. This is my second business. I sold one previously, but I'm going through a period now, and I've now got to the point with it whereby I think our profit this year was more than double last year, and the projection for this next our financial year is 31st of March. So I know what the figures are for this year. So we've more than doubled our net profit this year compared to last year, and we were projecting that it would quadruple next year, because our cases they take a long time to sell, but when they do, they generate a lot of revenue. Now, this has probably set that back. I don't know how long it's set it back by, but at the minute, all the courts are closed, all the insurance companies have gone home, all the people that we have our cases against aren't working. So it's going to delay that. But I'd been approached by a private equity house with a view to acquiring a stake in the business, and that was at a point of it was at the point of an offer, and then that's been put on pause now. So I bought the football club on the basis that I was expecting that within 3 years that I would have either sold my business or floated it, one or the other. And that I would be probably at best a non-exec chairman going in once a month for a board meeting, and I wanted something that I could keep me motivated and keep me busy and that excited me, and that's the whole point of the football club. It was something to do because I was planning on retiring within 3 years, and everything was on track for that, and it's still on track. This is going to delay it, but it's not going to delay it by years. Hopefully, I think touch lots of wood and pray. And yeah, I'd worked out.
It seems like you're on loads of work.
I'd worked out. I own 97.5% of my business, and I have got other companies that I own that aren't part of Pure Business Group that people, don't look hard enough for. I've got an insurance company. I've got a funding company that I own 50% of that generate or will generate significant revenues. And the reality is that the way that I'd structured it was that I didn't actually need to take any money out of Pure Business Group to put into the football club. The other businesses that I've got, the insurance company, the funding company, and I've got a report writing company in London and stuff, that's my football club money, and they generate quite a bit of profit, and they certainly were doing until this happened. So, yeah, the way that I've structured it was that, my intention was that I'd be putting a similar amount of money in as Dean had done, over a similar period of time, and I still believe that will be the case. We've just got to get through this, and I've got to make sure that I've still got a business in 3-6 months, and we've still got a football club, and that's the most pressing thing. And then it's how quickly you can get things back to normal. It's how quickly like I say, you look at how this has decimated all the world stock markets. I mean, literally every financer and funder and bank out there has basically said, yeah, we've got loads of money, but we're just going to sit on it for a while and see how this plays out. So no one's putting any capital out there. And that affects every single business around the world. It affects massive businesses and small businesses. And until we know how this is going to play out and how long it's going to be, it's very uncertain times. But you've just got to get through it. But we're not in a difficult position at this moment in time. But the longer it goes on, every football club will be in a more difficult financial position. It doesn't matter whether you're in the Premier League or not; they will. It's as simple as that. It's horses for courses. Just because clubs in the Premier League are getting maybe 100, 150 million quid, their wage bills are going to be in higher in line. You've got some Premier League clubs that have got wage bills that are bigger than the money that we got in the Premier League and so on. So it's horses for courses, and football club owners will, in the main, barring one or two, will be looking at it, and they'll be looking to protect their businesses and their families and their cash before they start throwing it into a football club at this moment in time right now. They've got to protect their assets and you've seen Leeds and Birmingham have already taken fairly strong, but I think necessary action, and I think you'll see every other football club follow suit in the next week, probably.
Would you...
Let's talk about... Go on, Matt.
I'm going to say one thing. That's just a very quick one. I think you pretty much answered it anyway. Was one thing Dean Hoyle always said was he'd never share Huddersfield Town. Would you ever be open to that? Say Neil wins 300 million on Euro Millions. Hopefully, Neil, fingers crossed. And Neil...
Remember your fence, Neil.
Yeah, and he fancies buying in. Would you ever be open to another investor as well? Or is it just... Or would you prefer to have full control? Then, obviously, you're only answerable to yourself in many ways.
So for me, if there's a point whereby I don't believe that the amount of money that I can put into the club or what I'm doing with it is in the best interest of the football club, i.e., I'm not doing a good enough job, or let's say something happens. So then yeah. But at this moment in time, I'm confident that I can. Subject to what's going on at the moment, obviously, a big caveat before everyone holds me to it, but subject to everything getting back to normal, I'm totally confident that I can put in the same level of money that Dean was putting in, and that will make us a competitive club, because I do believe that this is going to change the football landscape. Moving forward, I do think that certainly at championship level, I think it's inevitable that players' wages will come down and transfer fees, might even come down and so on if it goes on for long enough. But yeah, if it got to a point whereby I couldn't finance it to the level that it required for it to be competitive, or that was reasonable, because there's competitive and there's reasonable. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much money that you can put into something before it becomes a burden, and to explain that. So I don't want to be putting my money into a football club to pay the bills. I want to be putting money in to take it forward, so to buy younger players, to improve the facilities. Do you understand what I mean? And
yeah. Isaac and Benza, Phil. We don't want any more of them, mate. Wow. If anyone wants to spend some money, just be thinking of them two names, Isaac and Benza, man. Nightmare. Can we talk about football? Forget all this finance stuff. Let you worry about it. Right, Phil, me and Neil were in a box after Sheffield Wednesday, Danny Cowleys' first game. I'll never forget, the whistle went, that weapon monk were loving it, straight back to us. I thought we were doomed, mate. I know Danny Cowleys were taking over, and there were a lot to do, but my expectations were, if he keeps us up, we've done brilliant. And in my opinion, he's done fantastic, but they still had work to do. I just want to know kind of that first month, if they went, it was a bit of a nightmare start to say the least, and then Danny's first game was a struggle, Wednesday beaters. How did you feel in your mind? Were you optimistic we could still step up, or did you think, wow, if we don't have a good window or I get the right man in here, we're in big trouble?
No, I was always optimistic, because when you look at the squad of players that we had, even with maybe two or three that not everyone's fallen in love with, but when you look at the players, and I don't just mean the senior players, when you look at the quality of some of our younger players, I never ever said to myself we're too good to go down, because that's a very dangerous phrase, and I never thought we're too good to go down. But when you looked at the players that we had, and then you take into account that these players just haven't won a football match for so long, and that's going to affect you as a team and as individuals, and you're going to underperform. And again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I think probably if we you look back on things, and probably if Dean looked back on things, and then probably the appointment was maybe, well, definitely wasn't the right one at the time for where we were as a club, and it needed something else. But
I thought you were right to keep hold of Jan. I know a lot of people are saying, you should have made a break in the summer, but I 100% back you and kind of giving him the season to start with. And like you say, I'd track some of the thing, but I thought that was fair enough, to be honest with you. But obviously August came and went, and off he went.
You never want to be left wondering, though, do you? That's the thing.
It was my first sort of big learning curve, and what I mean by that is that, and people always say this, but until you're actually in the situation, don't take pre-season friendly results as any indication of what's going to happen, because I was at every single game in pre-season and over in Austria, and we played really well. We didn't play badly at all. We played really, really well, and I would probably say actually. Some people would say, well, that's because Aaron Moy was still here. But I would actually say that the conversations that I was having in pre-season were actually that Aaron was not playing anywhere near as well as he had been doing for us previously in those pre-season games. And he wasn't at the level that we'd come to expect. And I don't think that was a factor. We did play really well, and we more than held our own against everybody that we played, and looked like a good team. And then literally, and I think it was I can't remember who I had the conversation with, but a competitive match in front of a crowd when there's 3 points at stake is night and day compared to a friendly where there's no pressure. And as soon as they came out for that first game, Derby, wasn't it, at home, the first game of the season? You could just see, players that you'd class as strong characters and leaders. It just got to them, and we just weren't good enough. And Jan just, I tried to give him some time to sort of turn it round, because we had the ability and the quality, but I just don't think the players were bought in. They weren't. The players just weren't bought into it. I just don't think.
Do you think he tried to overcomplicate things a bit, Jan?
Look, Jan's a really great guy, and he will go on to be a good coach. And I just think that maybe it was right job, wrong time, perhaps a little bit of that. But I think he was. I felt that he tried to get too much information into the players, too many instructions, and footballers like it to be kept simple, and they'll tell you that. Footballers will tell you they like it to be kept simple. 2 things, 3 things, 1 thing. Keep it simple. And I think that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to be too technical or too coaching, but. Look, bottom line, it wasn't working. We could all see that, from on the pitch. They didn't look like a team. They didn't look like they were playing for each other. They didn't really look like they had a structure and a way of playing. And we all know what good looks like. We all know now what good looks like. And Dean said to me on more than one occasion, we know what good looks like. And I say, yeah, and it took us 45 years to find it. You know what I mean? Finding good doesn't always fall into your lap, and so. But yeah, look, I spent probably about 8 hours with Danny and Nicky, just me and them. First time we met, and then I over at the training ground, and they are they're just relentless. They're just relentless. They're so hard working.
I'm going to say, how pleased are you with them, and how what have they changed? Sort of things that the supporters maybe don't see. You can see everything on the field, but what off the field have they changed really, and how have they sort of turned it around?
I genuinely don't try not to interfere at all or be involved in the football side of things. So I don't spend a great deal of time down at the training ground because I just think it's counterproductive. I like to know on a Friday night. I like to know who's playing. But the most important thing for me is I want to know what the game plan is, because I like to watch a football match knowing how we're supposed to be playing and seeing whether or not it gets executed and whether it plays out. It's hard to explain, but it's just, it's the way they coach, it's the way they are with the players, it's the way they are with the staff. Like I say, they just they sort of, I think they gave everybody confidence again, and when I was talking about Leeds and having a way of playing, I don't think we've quite seen that this season, but that's because we've taken over partway through a season. All right, it's early doors, but transfer window's gone. And then we've had injuries and that we weren't expecting and so on. And the reality is they've found a way to win. They've found a way to win. It doesn't work every time, but they've found a way of playing in each individual game to get us to a point whereby we had 1 point out of 8 games, and we're now 17th, 18th, and we've got home games coming up against Wigan and Luton. I know Wigan were on a really good run, but we've got games coming up against teams that are below us that can put us in a really strong position. So, yeah, they've just got a really strong work ethic. They're very they know what they want, and they know how to get it out of the players. That's pretty evident. And the players want to play for him, and that's half the battle. The players want to play for him.
Can I just hang on for just 2 minutes? I'm just very, very conscious of what's going on in the country at the minute, and it's 4 minutes to 8 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, loads of people are going out onto the streets to do the applause for the NHS. And personally speaking, I'd love to go and do that.
Yeah.
So are we all right if we just pause for 10 minutes, come back on at say 8:05 and crack on a little bit, but just go and do that and then crack on? I just think it's important that we all show support for them because they're
agreed.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll just leave it all live and running. There's no point putting out.
Yeah, no worries.
Go do that if that's okay. Cheers for it.
Phil, I've just got a question, and he'll kill me for asking this, because Leigh Bromby is one of my best friends. But two questions. A, why do we always lose our directors of football? I suppose that maybe you can't comment on the past ones. And B, why do we get Leigh?
So A, we don't always lose them.
I love the pause.
Back in your box.
No. Well, we don't. In reality, we've only actually lost 2. In reality, in reality, and there's been reasons for why others haven't maybe been around for that long. But Leigh applied for the job originally in the summer, and interviewed really, really well. But we just, I think I felt, and Julian did at the time, that it needed someone external with a fresh pair of eyes, and so that's what we went for. But
how does that interview process work, Phil? Kind of what sort of questions are you asking? Kind of the candidates to bring there.
It's very, very structured. So in essence, everyone who you interview gets asked the same questions, and we have we have like a score sheet against certain things, and you with a head of football, you split it out into head of football operations and director of football are two different roles. So head of football operations is operationally manages everything operationally on the football side of things, including the recruitment and so on, but manages the teams and the departments and so on, and gets involved in it. Whereas a director of football, that role is you hire and fire the manager, and it's two quite different roles. And Leigh's just, I can't, since he's been sort of doing it, because obviously David leaves at the end of the season, but it's a transition piece. So Leigh's to all intents and purposes, he's doing the job because he's got to sort of hit the ground running. He's been unbelievable. Leigh is very, very. He's a strong character. He's very, very, very knowledgeable about football. Very knowledgeable about football. Very good at managing people, very good with people, and you'll look at the work that he's done with the academy over the last few seasons and where that is now, and the players. I predict that we will have more players from our current academy structure that play for the first team and play properly, like Lewis O'Brien play, over the next 3 or 4 years than we've ever had. Just because they are that good.
Any names that you want to drop in, or do you not want to add the pressure?
Look, I can give you 12 names now, if I wanted to, of players that I believe we've got in our academy that will be, £5 million plus players over the next 3 or 4 years, 5 years. Genuinely, we've got some unbelievable talent. We really have, and I've watched them, and you also look at players that have been in the first team. You've got Ryan Schofield coming through. You've got D'Amico. You've got Jaden.
Greens is doing well at Swindon, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, Romani's a player. You've got Matty Daly, who hasn't really featured this season, and I can keep reeling them off. And you'll have probably seen over the last week or so, the club's been doing features on some of our younger players, and they're, Jaheem, Brahma Diarra, Mika Obiero's an unbelievable striker, unbelievable talented player. And I don't want to do anyone any disservice, because we haven't got any bad players, but we've got some unbelievable quality coming through. And Leigh's been responsible with Amir and the rest of the team for that, and the structure that he's put in place there. And there's nothing that I've seen that makes me believe that we've not made the right decision. He's doing a phenomenal job. And again,
tell him to look to it.
I'm looking at some of the tweets we've had. They're all good, actually.
Relentless hard worker, and yeah, he's just very, very, very good. Got a lot of respect for him, and this role is allowing him to use a lot more of his skill set as well. I'm pleased.
Does part of that concern you that you're taking somebody out of a role that's been massively successful into a different role? But I've no doubt he'll be successful, but replacing him in that role.
We've replaced him. So,
is that a bit of a? Does it slightly concern you at all that they won't be as good as him, or?
No, not at all. Amir's fantastic. I mean, we are fortunate that we've got good people at the club, and we've got people in every department that can step up, and we've lost some people. We've had one of our media lads was poached by Spurs in the summer. We've had one of our scouts has just been nicked by Man City. and so we've had that happen quite a lot, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It shows that we're developing people and we've got good quality people. It's a bad thing when you lose them, but the structure that's in place there, we've got people coming through. We've got good people coming through that can step into those shoes, and you have to have that in any business, but particularly football, because people have got to see that there's a path for them, that they can grow and develop. People don't want to stand still, particularly in football. People don't want to stand still for very long at all. And so you have to provide those pathways, otherwise they go somewhere else.
Well, I know when Leigh were appointed, there were quite a lot of people sort of decrying it, that usual, easy, cheap option, etc. I
wish it were. I wish I didn't have to give them a pay rise.
But within any business, though, surely that should be the aim in any business, to get somebody from that level to work their way up that level and keep the people within the business who are good people. It's just common sense. It shouldn't all be about going and poaching from elsewhere and spending from elsewhere. It's about going in.
If you ask most supporters of football clubs, I could be wrong here, but this is how I feel anyway. Would you rather have 11 players on the pitch that were all homegrown or came through your academy and were part of the fabric of the club? Or not, and I'm not saying that that's ever going to happen or that's the aim. Don't get me wrong, but look at Lewis and where he is, and how the supporters have sort of, there's no better feeling than having a player, but a good player who's got ability that you've brought through and that's kind of yours. And that's got nothing to do with money. It's just it feels a little bit different. I can't explain it.
It's one of your own, isn't it? It's one of your.
I think that shone through massively when we did the AMC awareness game when we played Leeds. Obviously, the team news came out there, and we all had half an idea what was going to be going on. And you've got 7 kids sat on bench, and that were met. Bear in mind, you're playing your local rivals. We're going for promotion. You're strapping at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
And it was met with pretty much universal agreement and joy and happiness that X, Y, and Z had been banished. And these kids, and I'd have much rather seen those kids, like Kieran came on for 15, 20 minutes, 17-year-old kid, did a great, put a great shift in, had a good little spell. And I'd much rather see that any day at week than some mercenary who's worth so many millions. For me, it's a no-brainer. We all want to see as many homegrown players as possible because they're ours.
We gave them more of a game that day, Neil. We scratched him than we did the other week, didn't we? And
we did. Yeah, we did.
Phil, can we keep Emil Smith Rowe? Is it a bit of a pipe dream? I'd love to see him another season, but is it a reality?
Look, you can see how good a player Emil is.
He's all right.
Can we just?
We've we've done a lot of work, so we've actually developed a good relationship with Arsenal, and I have already put a text message into their head of recruitment and just said if Emil is available for loan next season, we want him, no questions asked. I've got to be honest, I think he'll be in their first team next season. He's played 6 or 7 games for them this season, and I'd be surprised if he wasn't in their first team squad next season. But if he isn't and he's available for loan, then I've asked first dibs, and we've got in there early. And I genuinely, it was a little bit tongue in cheek, but I did actually send him a message about 2-3 weeks ago, just saying, look, it's. If he's going to be available for a season-long loan next season, then we can shake on it now, type thing.
How much did we need that January business, Phil, from a regarding point of ins and outs and that as well? Because to me, I thought we'd had a little lift, but then we were kind of having a little dip, and it needed this, especially as the outs that naming names.
I mean, look, I'm talking about young players, but the reality of the situation is that, I'm with Danny and Nicky on this. I'm with Danny on it. the position that we were and still are in the league is not a position you want to be in where it's not the time to blood young players. It's not the time to give them their head and feet. Do you know what I mean? You can't. Relegation scraps are not a good place to give most young players a grounding. And so we needed to add some quality. We needed to add some more strength and some more experience, because that's what you need when you're in the position that we've been in all season. And we've got a lot of young players that've got a lot of quality, but what they need to be able to do is they need to be able to learn and develop in an environment where there isn't that kind of pressure hanging over them, because it does affect people and it affects footballers. That the pressure affects the performance, and so we needed to bring in some more experience. We needed to have. We all knew we needed to have some quality up to the top of the pitch. I think that Emile is one of, if not our best loan signings that I've seen in the last sort of few seasons. Certainly on a par with Aaron Moy when he came on loan. The way he's played, I don't know whether that's because of where we are, but I just think he's been phenomenal. You can see the quality. Chris Willock's brought something, a little bit different, and you can see there's a real player in there, and that's starting to come out.
Is there a chance of a permanent with Chris Willock, or is that down to what goes on? And
yeah, so there's a chance, but it depends how sensible Benfica want to be. It's like anything. Potentially, but you just don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know how it's going to play out, how anything's going to play out at the moment. So, but we've been our scouts and our recruitment team. We've been watching a lot of games, and we've very much gone back to the hunting ground. For, Germany and places like that, and a lot of Bundesliga 2 games and things like that as well, and looking at the types of players that we were successful with the first time around. Your Heffelers, your Lervers, your Schindlers, and so on. That's where they all came from. That's where we found them. So we're doing a lot of work on scouting. We're developing some really strong relationships with sort of Premier League clubs, top 6 Premier League clubs. We've got a really good relationship with Man City. We've got a good relationships with Liverpool, Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, and yeah, we'll hopefully be able to be strong and a bit more prepared. The summer window was tough last season because it was shorter than normal. We kind of lost nearly 4 weeks, and it was all a little bit rushed, and it was a really difficult window, and because we're coming down from the Premier League, you've got to get your wage bill right, and it wasn't at the start of the summer window. It was miles away from where it needed to be, and you've got to do what's right for the football club, and you've got to, when you're in that position, you've got to get your outs sorted before you get your ins, because you can end up in a position whereby you're held to ransom on your outs then, because people know you've got to shift them because you've signed a load of players. And because the window was shorter, we just didn't have enough time to get the ins sorted because the outs took longer than they should have. And it's a bit of a juggler. It's a juggling act, and it never goes according to plan. Deals never go according to plan, and even in January we had a couple that were over the line, and then within 12 hours someone came in from left field and just said, no, you're not going there, or they pulled the plug. And so it's tough, but Jonas has come in, and one of the things that we needed to improve was our distribution from the back, and I think as a goalkeeper, Jonas's kicking ability is probably the best that I've seen in a long time from any goalkeeper that we've had. His kicking, his distribution of the ball is really accurate. Look at Mbenza's goal. Look at Mbenza's goal against Man United last season. And he brings that to it. And then Stearman coming in at the back was. Chris needed some. I personally thought that John Stankovic was really unlucky. I didn't really think he'd put a foot wrong. But yes, just the need to add some more experience and so on. And I thought we had I thought we had a good window in January. I thought we had a good window. We were over budget at the start of the season. We were over budget going into January. We were still over budget coming out of January, and we're still over budget now. And that's football. We've never been within the budget that we set from minute one to minute now, and that's just the way it is. But it's. I can't even really. What we're doing is we're doing things as normally as we can from the point of view of planning for summer recruitment, but we don't know where we're going to be financially. We don't know where we're going to be with regards to a window. We don't even know whether we're going to finish the season. So you've just got to carry on as normal until something changes, and that's what we've been doing. We can't now. There's no games to watch, so it's
On that, Phil, what are Danny and Nicky doing at this moment in time? What's kind of their daily routine? How they're kind of occupying their time for this?
They will be at home watching football matches, watching players, watching football matches, watching players, watching football matches, and watching players. Probably 16 hours a day, because that's what they do normally. And they'll be planning, and they'll be watching. They'll be watching games. That our upcoming opponents have played. I think we usually analyse the last 6 games, something like that, of every opponent coming up, and they'll still be doing that, even though we might not be playing a game for 10-12 weeks. They just absorb themselves in football, and I think they'll continue to just do that, and until such a time as they can start planning training sessions again and so on. That's what they'll be doing. They'll be watching football, watching players, thinking about recruitment, summer transfer windows, and we've got to try and be as normal as you can in an unprecedented situation, really.
Phil, have you been hurt by some of the comments and stuff? I know obviously you must have a thick skin to take a job, but I always felt that whether following or it were like following Alex Ferguson, it was always going to be a difficult one to match up. But I just find it kind of out and about. Some people are still, I don't know what it is, Phil. It's frustrates me because I don't think people like reality and all. I don't know what they were expecting this season, but I always feel, I don't know how you feel, but it's frustrating really sometimes. I'm always arguing back. I think people thought we were going to blow like 70, 80 million, and maybe because you were very honest in the cinema the first time, and I don't know what it is. I just still feel some people are against you, and I don't like that, but I don't know how you feel.
I think, I think initially, it was. I mean, in the first few months, it was really bad to the point whereby my family didn't come to games. And I was getting all kinds of threats by email and stuff like that, and social media wasn't a pleasant place to be. I didn't take it well because I wasn't expecting it. I was like, I don't understand what I've done wrong. The reality is that where I am now with it and where I've been for the last few months is that I'm not here to do anything other than what's in the best interest of Huddersfield Town Football Club, and not everyone's going to like what I do. Like not everyone likes what any chairman does, and Dean was our most successful chairman and was a brilliant chairman, but I'm pretty sure that there was more than one occasion where people didn't agree with something that he did, and that just comes with the job. And I think what you have to do is make sure decisions to try and please people, because that's the wrong reason to do it. So I know that every decision that I've made is being in the best interest of Huddersfield Town Football Club, whether people like it or like those decisions. There's nothing I can do about that, so I've stopped worrying about it. It's human nature. Not everyone likes everyone, do they? And I suppose it's magnified because I'm in a very, very public sort of role and place and very out there. So it's probably very, very magnified. But I just think that as long as I can sort of go to bed every night knowing that whatever I've done has been the best for the football club, then what people think of me, we're a very judgmental society. Very judgmental society. And I've been guilty of it, in the past. And you judge people without knowing anything about them in a lot of cases, and that's just where we are, and that's always going to be the case. And do you know what? If people don't like me, they're entitled to their opinion. If people don't like what I do, they're entitled to their opinion, and it is what it is. As long as I know that everything that I do is in the best interest of the football club, then I can sleep at night, and yeah, it's not something that gives me any problems anymore. I don't worry about it. I don't let it get to me.
How's season card sales doing, Phil? Do you know?
They were doing really well up until obviously this kicked in 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were a little bit behind last season, but not to a point whereby we were kind of concerned. So they were going well. They weren't terrible. I think the first 2 weeks we were ahead on a like for like compared to last season. I mean, I think we probably had there was a little dip where there was some catching up going on. But yeah, we weren't in a bad place, and we were very much aiming. The target and the aim for commercial was to try and hit that 18,000 again. That was the aim, and we were tracking reasonably well towards it at the time. But now everyone's in very uncertain times, so no one's buying season tickets at the minute again, and I wouldn't expect them to be. They need to put food on the table and live.
I renewed mine yesterday. I feel daft now.
That won't be a first, will it?
I know.
Phil, our away support's been awesome this year, Phil. I mean, I've been really surprised. I didn't think we'd sell out at Leeds and other places. We've took some right followings. It's been pretty great, hasn't it, to see everyone still sticking by everybody and that. I've been really proud to be there.
Yeah, no, the away following's been really good, and to be fair, even at the home following, it's. I think that we still need to. We need to do more on the pitch to get the atmosphere back to the levels that it was at, but it's definitely been better. It's improved throughout the season, and the reality is that we can't expect the John Smith Stadium to be rocking if we're not winning football matches and putting in performances. And I definitely think that we've been doing a lot better since Danny and Nicky came in, and the performances have been better and the results have been better, and there's certainly. I definitely feel that the tide has started to turn back towards a much more positive home atmosphere, and every credit and respect to our supporters, because they have stuck by us in what's been a really, really difficult season that none of us were expecting. I wasn't expecting it to start how it did or go like it did, and neither was anybody else. We have got great supporters, and I just I just hope that no matter what we are or what the situation is when we come through what's going on in the world at the moment, that there'll be nothing more pleasing than to get that first home game back and just fill the place and just have it bouncing, just as a bit of a celebration. And no one can knock our supporters. Absolutely not. They are fantastic.
Neil, I've seen a few tweets coming tonight about, what we're going to spend this or that, but my kind of objectives have changed now, obviously because of what's happened. I just want the football club to support, and I know a lot of people won't want to hear that, but the dynamics has totally changed for me now and what's coming up, and I don't know how you feel, but I'm still seeing, some of these tweets tonight, about this investment and that, and if it does go 3 months, I just want to be sat, whenever it is, we play again. Do you feel the same, or I know we've got to have ambition, but I just think it's totally changed now for me, mate, what reality is in life and what we want as a fan. Are you in it?
Is that Neil for me or Neil?
Neil, sorry, Neil.
Oh, that's for me.
Yeah, what are you thinking of? What are you thinking now? Next few months.
To be honest, I sort of alluded it to earlier on, didn't I? That everything is just bigger than football at the minute. I know Phil's got on his plate of, paying a load of staff. But speaking from a fan's point of view, completely, football at this moment in time just really doesn't matter. It's about. That's why I wanted to stop earlier on. It's about going and supporting all these phenomenal people who doing what they do day in, day out for NHS. And, you know, I've had 500,000 people volunteer the services, which is ridiculous again. And then that just shows you that, you know, there is a lot of good in this country. For us, the slating that it gets at times, there's a lot of good goes on in this country. You know, we're involved in organisations that help people and put a lot of good in. And football's football, isn't it? Football's something you do. That's your release on a Saturday. That's you go and shout and scream and sing and have a pint with your mates and whatever else. But in reality, after the game of football's finished, you want to go out with your family, don't you? And at the moment, some people can't even go and visit the family. So that's reality. And for me, it's a lot more important when we do eventually start again, whenever it may be. Obviously, nobody knows. But, you know, just to have a team to go watch, regardless of who's playing, I don't care if they've cost 15 million or 15 quid, to be honest.
I find on social media, I found that the people that are asking whether we're going to pay 10 million or 15 million for players in the summer are the same people that are asking why we paid 10 or 15 million pounds for players that they don't like. It's usually the same people that just contradict themselves on social media. So it's, why aren't we spending £10 million on players? And then in the next tweet, it's, why did we spend £10 million on him? So it's just like, yeah.
Could you? I think one interesting thing to work out or to hear, Phil, would be how a transfer works. I think a lot of people just kind of think you send a fax in with an offer, it gets accepted, and then the player just rocks up with his agent and signs on the dot, you know, like you've seen on TV. But it sounds like there's a lot more to it than just getting a player across, and there's a lot more things to bring together. I'm just wondering if you could kind of briefly, not with particular examples or anything, but how difficult it is to get a transfer and what's involved in taking it through to the end.
Yeah, well, so everyone's a little bit different. There's nuances and things, but you know, as an example, the deal to bring Emil in took us 7.5 weeks from start to finish. So that's a loan. So yeah, I mean the way that it works is you'll do your scouting. You let's say you're looking for a centre forward. It's important that the recruitment team know what they're looking for, and it's really important that as a club you're recruiting. It's important to have a system, because then you can recruit to your 17s and your 19s and your 23s. You're recruiting the same. So if our style of play is a 4-2-3-1 with overlapping fullbacks to allow the wingers to cut inside, then you know that you're recruiting at every level, at right back and left back, for fullbacks that aren't defensive fullbacks, that are overlapping fullbacks, and that's what you're looking for. So it's important that your recruitment team have got a clear message, and that's why having a style of play is really important. You're recruiting at every level. And then you'll identify. Usually there'll be between 3 and 6 potential players for that particular position and target, and you'll have scouts will watch. So you'll watch a certain number of games electronically. The manager will want to go and watch them live at least once. You'll usually get at least 6 to 8 reports on any particular target, and they are marked, and they have a rating, and then you'll collate all those ratings, and then you'll put them in order of preference. You'll speak to the agents and find out what kind of deal they're on and what kind of deal they'd be looking for, etc., etc. Is the player interested? That can take 2 or 3 weeks conversations, and then you'll then approach the club for permission to speak to the players. So normally all contact is through agents, because obviously you need to have permission to speak to the players. And then it's going through the process of meeting the players. So you'll quite often, and certainly Danny, they like to go down and meet the player with the family at their home. Then they get them up to the training ground and they come up and have a look round. And there's a lot of players talk to each other. A lot of them all know each other. Carlin knows more players than there are in the world. He knows everyone. Everyone knows Carlin, and Carlin knows everyone. So And there's a lot of that, and then you tend to negotiate with the agent in reality. So you'll agree a fee with the club. While that's ongoing, they've given you permission to talk to the players, so you'll then start looking to agree personal terms. The players don't really get involved in that anymore. It's all done through the agent. And then when you've agreed everything, they'll come for a medical. But with medicals now, certainly with permanent transfers, you've got to get blood tests, ECGs. It's not just turn up for a medical and do sort of 10-star jumps and job done. You'll ask for all medical records and history from the parent club, so you've got to get they send you all their scans and blood tests and so on. The blood tests can take 48 hours, so sometimes you fall lucky. So during the January window, we fell lucky with Toffs. We fell lucky with Richard Stearman because he'd recently had his blood done at Sheffield United. And so we got his bloods done and we got the results back really quickly, I think within 12 hours. Whereas with another signing, which went right down to the wire, it took 2.5 days to get the blood test results back because the lab was really, really busy. And if you're looking at a loan, it's different. If you're looking at a free transfer, it's different. You go through the same process, but if you're looking at maybe an older player where you've got up-to-date blood tests and so on, and it's a free transfer, you're more inclined as a chairman to kind of go, let's just get it done, we're going to miss the deadline, than if you're spending £4 million. And so you have to make all those decisions on an ongoing basis, and you'll speak to the club doctor and they'll say, look, this is the percentage chance we think of it coming back, not right. And sometimes you have to make judgment calls, but that whole process, it takes weeks. It takes weeks, even with loans. It takes weeks. You don't just sort of go in and go, right, I want him. Yeah, you can have him. Okay, he'll be there tomorrow. It couldn't be further from happening like that. And you do sometimes miss out on players because sometimes you have to dig your heels in. Sometimes you have to dig your heels in with clubs. And that was one of the reasons why the summer window didn't go as we'd hoped or planned, was because particularly the Philip Billing one, where that took 9 weeks because we had to dig our heels in because clubs were trying to get him on the cheap and they thought we were desperate, and I had to dig my heels in, and there is certainly one director of football who's no longer speaking to me on the back of that, so that didn't go too well. But sometimes you just have to dig your heels in and just say no, and that can have a knock-on effect. But the first time you crumble, that becomes permanent, and you can't come back from that. So you've just got to be strong. And if that means that you miss out on another player because you don't get one done on time, then you've just got to live with that, and you've got to, those are the consequences. But you can't bend to a whim. And when it comes to how much money you spend, for me, it's about value for money. I don't care what anyone says, and it doesn't matter how much money you've got. If you use the analogy, if you spend £10 million on one player, or you bring in 5 players for £2 million each, you've got a lot less risk spending your money on 5 players than you have on one, because there has never been a football club in the history of football that's got every single transfer right. It just doesn't happen. You do get some wrong, some go wrong, and so you've got to look at the risk. And I would much rather spend whatever money that we've got available on transfers wisely. And I want players that are hungry. I want players that have got a journey to go on. You want players that have got something to play for. You don't want players that have already achieved things. I don't. I want people who are at it. I say that to Lee all the time. You want your staff to be at it, and you want your players to be at it. You don't want complacency, and you want hungry players that have got something to prove, that have the ability but maybe haven't been given the platform. And that's much better than going out and spending 10, 15 million quid and a fortune in wages, because what have they got to aim for? Because they've landed.
I think that's how people like Buffalo work, because he's been on the verge a couple of times, hasn't it? And then sort of slumped back down again, and that's made him even more sort of hungry to get back again. And you can see that.
Look at Lewis. I mean, you know, I don't know whether you read Lewis did an interview this week, and if you read that, you know, he felt like he had a point to prove, and look at him.
He's probably our best player, isn't he?
He's quality. He's just quality. He's just an unbelievable player. We've got lots of great players, but you know, you have the more money you spend and the more wages you pay, the more chance that you've got of having players who feel like they've made it. So what have they got to prove? Because they've made it. You want players that want to prove it, and that you want players that are going to go on, you know, to a higher level, or that are going to take you to a higher level because they've got something to prove. And
that always makes me laugh when people go on about spending, you know, why aren't we investing this, why aren't we spending this, why aren't we spending that. If you look through our squad, the players who you hang your hat on didn't cost out. Schindler, less than 2 million. You know, Carling Grant, 2 million. Lewis O'Brien, no. Toffolo, 500,000. Johnny Hogg, less than 500,000. They're all the players that you'd hang your hat on. And if you pick 11, you've got 6, 7 that play for you every week, regardless. And look at what we track this out: 15, 17 million, 13 million, 8 million, whatever.
Well, that's what I said in London, Neil. I said, you know, you put it into perspective. Get a piece of paper and write down a list of all the players that we've paid 10 million-ish or more, and then make a list of all the players that we've paid less than 2 million quid for, and then put a tick against the ones that were value for money. Do it yourself. Do the math. I've done it.
People like Chris Lerver and players like that, aren't they? Brilliant signings.
Free transfers.
Phil, I keep getting a text. Ask Phil to send some pasta to Steve Mooney. The poor guy has been on Radio League saying he can't get all the pasta. He needs a food parcel or he'll waste away.
I'll sort him some pasta out.
Some al dente, yeah.
Brilliant. Unbelievable.
We'll send Steve some pasta.
I'll tell you what though, Phil, it's been unbelievable, Steve Mooney, because I would have, well, I won't bet because I don't bet anymore, but I would never have thought he'd be with us past January. And what I've really loved about him is his attitude, kind of on social media. The thing over Christmas he did, you know, kind of with the homeless people. He seems a really good guy.
Yeah.
And he's added a lot to the dressing room. And to me, it's been beautiful to see, really, the way he's interacting with the fans. I've kind of loved him even more than I did, to be honest with you. I don't know what you feel. He seems a really good man.
Yeah, he is, and he's a really good player. And you know, the reality is that what Steve needs is the right service. Do you know what I mean? So Steve, as a striker, he'll score goals. He's a 20-25 goal striker in the Championship with the right service, and he's now getting that with the additions that we've made in January. And you know, ask yourself a question: Would you rather go out and spend £10 million on a new striker, or get Steve Mooney to sign a new contract? Where's your value for money? Yeah. And so, you know, I think he's a quality guy, and he's a quality player.
He's a genuinely good human, isn't he? You can just tell.
Yeah,
just one of them. Genuinely good human, which is it's rare in footballers nowadays.
There's a video that's gone out today on the foundation Twitter page, I think, which is his response to a question from a school child, asking about his Benin and kind of his growing up, etc., which is it's really quite moving. Actually, it's worth listening.
Yeah, I've seen it. It is, but it's definitely worth a watch if anybody hasn't seen it.
Yeah, seen it. It's good.
Neil, you want to have a danger zone special, Neil, that you.
Yeah,
you don't seem as angry as last time.
I know. I think it's I'd be remiss. Neil's not been on for ages, so we'd be a bit remiss not to ask him to put some dangers in the zone.
You barred me for foul language. Tell true.
No.
We downloaded Danger Zone song, Neil, in tribute.
Speak freely.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Absolute danger, this fella.
Revving up your engine, listen to a howling roar.
Is it Jan Sievert in the crowd, a possible David Wagner successor?
Metal under tension, begging you to touch and go.
Send out Patrick Davidson to find out.
Highway to the danger zone.
Mark Saggers, Whopper.
Right into the danger
Adrian Dunham, absolute whopper. You can't tell me Eddie Howe won't be keeping tabs on us. Hashtag SWFC.
Because I've watched your match of the day, and trust me, I think you might as well take up archery at times.
Golden parachute catch.
I'll take you right into the danger zone.
Piss off, Huddersfield. How dare you? How actually dare you?
The danger zone today, Christ, to be honest, it's the easiest one we've ever done, and we've had some easy ones.
Jason Kunde.
Again, yeah.
Sorry, Kunde.
In amongst all this, yeah, you're right, it's still Jason Kunde. No, it's an absolute no-brainer, isn't it? It's all the absolute weapons, all the dangers who still insist on partying and mixing where they don't need to mix, and they're silently killing people, and that's unforgivable, and it's boils my piss up beyond belief. I'll be honest, it's really rattled me this last week or so, especially just seeing all these absolute weapons out and about, mixing, having parties, barbecues going, totally going against any kind of lockdown. Weather's nice, why should I waste it? I heard one woman on Radio Soul, and there were a clip.
No, I heard that as well. I wanted to go. Don't even be good on it.
I could have quite happily pulled her. I'd have finished it off myself. She honestly, happily, because people like that, if you get rid of one person like that, you're saving God knows how many more. And that sounds harsh, but it's fact, because people like that are walking silent killers. We've got her, who she was more than happy because weather was nice. Why shouldn't she go on preach, and why shouldn't she have an ice cream? She was 75-year-old. Her husband was 78-year-old and just had a bloody stroke.
Yeah.
Come on. And she said, I can't wait for this. And the bloke said to her, what if it's last 1 year ever had? She said, well, I'll have enjoyed it. But why not be sensible and have another 10 years of that? You're only 75. Come on. You know, it's people like that, I can't cope with it.
I think that's what shocked me, Neil, to be honest, going on the odd run. It's like it seems to be the older people who just kind of, maybe a generalisation, but I've been shocked, to be honest with you. When it's just, I mean, even tonight, when it showed the people clapping, there were still people in a group. It had incredible.
Yeah, they were all stood together. I was seeing it on TV, and I'm like,
what are you doing? I mean, I'll be honest, my mum and dad, my mum's 70 odd. My dad's 76 this year, so my mum will be 74, and my mum's 74 on Friday coming, and I'm not so sure, I think they might have nipped at supermarket because that's what they do, not for any cause any bother at all, just because they need stuff and whatever. They're used to sort of being self-sufficient, and me and my missus just basically give them a hard word and said, you do not leave the house. You know, my mum's had heart problems and cancer and all sorts of stuff, and my dad's just getting on, so you've got to, we give them a hard word. Like Mother's Day, we went up and we took a flask up, sat at other end of the garden while they're sat in conservatory, just so we could see her on Mother's Day. And, you know, do the sensible thing. It's not rocket science, is it? If government are telling you to stay in because people are dying, stay in. You know, other things will return to how they were. Other things will carry on happening once this is all done. But more important is having people still being alive when it's finished. And it's honestly, it's boiled my piss this week.
The worst thing is, Neil, we've seen the other countries, so it's not as if we're starting first and we wonder what could happen, let's risk it.
No.
We've seen Italy, we've seen Spain, we've seen China, we've seen everyone else dying, but yet still people are doing it.
When you've got countries making temporary morgues out of ice rinks, now that if that doesn't shock you and make you stop and think, you're done. There's no to help you. If that doesn't shock you when you're thinking, hang on a minute, there might be something in this, you're done. And, you know, there's been 2 or 3 people that I know really well have been carrying doing stuff, and I've said to them, you're playing at? What are you playing at? Yeah. You're risking it. It ain't about just you, because you're healthy or whatever. We all have got elderly relatives, or we will know people who've got underlying health conditions, and they might not even know they've got them. But there's a way to find out what this isn't it. So just stop at home. Do the right thing. Stop at home. You know, we can still get food. We can still get everything we need. most of the time people be happy to stop at home and watch telly. So why not now? All you've got to do is stop at home and watch the telly. I mean, the worst thing, to be fair, is the fact that the weather's nice. This is the one time where you could actually deal with, the rain that hits your face. It's hard and cold. But it is what it is. The sensible people hopefully will survive, and hopefully it's over sooner rather than later, and most people come through it unscared.
We can't end on a negative, can we? We've got to be a positive. Come on, man.
I tell you what, I've done a video this week, because obviously staying in the house, not going out. We did a video this week on Marcus Stewart and the goals he scored. Yeah, not that video, the one I put on YouTube, not the other tube. But essentially, did a video that went on YouTube. You can catch it. Marcus Stewart, all his 68 goals that he scored for the club. Just memories of Marcus Stewart, really. Neil, he went to the Strike Force event with See It Now Sports. There was some little snippets there of Marcus Stewart's past about why he left and whatnot, and just really what your guys' favourite memories of Marcus Stewart were. And obviously the most unhappy one is the day he left, but an absolute, I'd go as far as saying he's probably still the best striker this club's seen since Frank Worthington in '72. Not that I've seen them all since, but
where you remember where you were when you signed him. I mean, let's be honest. Those of us that were there, which is probably all of us, when we won at Wembley against Bristol Rovers, he was by far and away the best player on that pitch.
I wanted
the fact that we ended up signing him, and we were so building, didn't we, for nearly £3 million.
I asked my mum for a headband after that game as well.
I was in Mallorca when we signed him, and one of the classic Brit or bought a paper, and we'd signed Marcus Stewart, Andy Morrison, and Andy Staten all in a one.
Yeah, all three were on that back page, weren't they? Yeah.
That was one of those where you look at it. That was a proper hell moment. You're buzzing because you just knew how good he was. Yeah. And let's be honest, every minute he pulled the shirt on, he never let us down, did he?
1.2 million as well. Amazing.
Different class. Amazing. Yeah, well.
How much think you'll be worth in today's world?
25, 30, easy.
You wonder what type of player he'd be now, because he wasn't blessed with a lot of pace. He wasn't big and strong, so you wonder in today's modern 4-2-3-1 where he would have fit in, really. And you start thinking, would he have been more of a crafty number 10 or an inside right that comes in onto his left foot? Or was he good enough to play up front? Yeah.
Bit of a Dwight Gale, wasn't he, to a degree?
Yeah, a little bit.
It'd have fit in just because he were that good.
Yeah.
Simple.
With us,
the lad was just absolute class.
He's good in the air for 5'8" as well. That was one surprising thing about him, how good he was in the air.
When at that Strike Force event a few weeks back, what a nice fella. What a genuinely nice fella. Just come and happily talk to you. Told us all sorts. Yeah, he actually had. His two lads with him. One of them plays rugby for Huddersfield and for YMCA, I think. But yeah,
what's he doing now, Neil? What's he doing now?
Marcus Stewart's assistant manager at Walsall.
Yeah,
Walsall.
But no, I think that it's like, when you're looking for a manager, it's like looking for a player. You know what you're looking for, and it's about what you want as a club, and so you shortlist them based on. And to be honest, I shortlist just based on what I wanted and where we wanted to go, but also the position that we were in at the time. And I know that I got criticised for coming out and saying that I'll only interview people who have applied for it. Everyone was banging on about Chris Hughton who didn't apply for it. But I think that's important. Why would you want a manager at your football club who didn't want the job, who didn't apply for it? Why would you want anyone to work anywhere that didn't apply for the job? That never made any sense to me. Why would you go after someone if you've had? I can understand if you go after someone, and like clubs do when they're planning for the future and they're actually, they're like, well, let's have a look at him. But when you've advertised it, as in when you've sacked someone and the job's available and everyone knows it's available, why would you want to employ someone or go after someone that hasn't even put the name in the ring? Yeah, people were saying, well, why didn't we go after so-and-so? And I'm just like, well, the job's been available for 3-4 weeks. Why would you go after someone that's shown no interest in it whatsoever? Why would you go after someone who's shown no interest in your football club? Why would you want to? I don't get it.
Do you think in that scenario as well, there's a little bit of, well, probably a lot of ego involved where I don't need to apply for that if they want me. If they'll come and ask me.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to practice what I preach. I've never met Chris Hughton or spoken to him, so I'm not going to make any assumptions on why. There can be lots and lots of reasons, and yeah, I think we had. Oh God, I think we had either just under or just over 90 applicants. I think it was 92 in the end, something like that. 87 or 92 sticks in the end. So we had a lot, and some big names. But it's you're looking for something specific, and I just wouldn't ever want to, unless I'd gone after them specifically before a job became available. If you understand what I mean, I just don't understand why you would seek out someone who hadn't shown any interest in it if it had been available for X number of weeks and everyone was aware of it. So
I'll be honest, I think it was pretty universally well received that we got the Cowleys, because I think most people wanted them. I think they were at top of, certainly a lot of people that I've spoken to would have said, the Cowleys, get the Cowleys. And the fact that we did, after the sort of bump in the road in between them coming and then staying. And let's be fair, it's worked out so far, hasn't it? They've done a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. From one point to where we are.
We can carry it on. Let's hope we can all carry it on our jobs. It's scary times for them.
That's the unknown when football starts again, isn't it? Because there's going to be that much of a delay in between Oak and Apple. Literally Oak and Apple when it starts again. It's uncharted territory, isn't it?
Well, I think it's been on. I think it's been out on the news today. So I think the EFL and the Premier League have said that there'll be no games getting played before 30th of April. I think I've seen that on social media from the EFL and the FA and so on, and they won't. So it's going to be months. There's going to be a gap of months, but like I say, hopefully we all get through this, and we're still there, and we've still got a football club, which is that's when we will. And imagine that feeling and that atmosphere at that first home game, and that's something to look forward to, isn't it? That's something to focus on and try and get there and look forward to it, and
whenever it may be,
whenever that may be, and it'll be Wigan at home.
Yeah. And whenever it is, everything's got to be right in the country between now and then, hasn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's just a game of football that can happen whenever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but it's you're right. I think the clamour for everything. Pubs are going to be mad, restaurants are going to be mad, cinemas are going to be ridiculous. When everything opens again, everyone's going to be like kids at Christmas for all. They want it all, and I want it all now. It's going to be like
Sean will be licking his lips, won't it? Sean.
2021 is going to be good with sport, though.
For Sean, I've seen. I must admit, I'm seeing a lot of footballers posting videos, setting tasks, and not taking into account those of us that are maybe not under 18. And poor Sean nearly fractured his fetlock the other day trying to do Lewis O'Brien's flick up and step over.
He was quite proud of himself with that as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that could have gone horribly wrong, and I'm kind of like. I might post a video myself of something that footballers can't do, like necking a pint of red wine, and then see if any of them want to post that on Instagram so I can find them 2 weeks' wages.
Yeah, the Sam Allardyce challenge.
Phil, if you're not doing Joe Wicks tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'll be going to Examiner and getting them to out you, man.
No, I won't be doing that. But yeah, it's. It's good, they try to do, the kids are at home and what have you, and off school, and they try to do stuff, and it's really, really good. And but I do think that we need to have some footballers posting videos that for us maybe slightly physically challenged people for us to have a go at. if I see one more football,
that include just sitting here holding it? Because I could probably do that.
Just something that we can all do. I'm feeling a bit left out, and I feel like I should sort of go get a toilet roll and try and do some keepy uppies and stick it on social media or something. I don't know, but it's difficult times. It's unprecedented times, and you know, people have just got to be sensible and stop being stupid. And you know, the people that have been going out and mixing and ignoring the rules are going to be the ones that are mourning in 5 weeks when we're still on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner everyone sticks to it and keeps away from each other,
oblivious to why.
Yeah, the sooner everyone just gets the hang of the fact, just keep away from people and don't mix, then the sooner this will be over. And until they get the hang of it, it's just going to go on for longer. And the consequences of that, for every week longer that it lasts, everything that we come back to will be in a slightly worse position. Not just sport, everything. The longer it goes on, the harder it'll be to recover from it. And people need to accept that. And people just need to make sensible choices and be sensible. And hopefully in a month or two, we'll be having different conversations. But yeah, mine and the board's and everyone's job is to make sure that we've got a football club to come back to, because I really fear that some football supporters won't, potentially. I really do. That's a genuine concern.
I think that's a good way to end it, Phil.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks again, Phil, for coming on. And I think we're going to try and be here every week. So if you get bored and you're in your bunker and you fancy rocking up with a pint of wine, you know, you're more than welcome to log on and join in.
My pleasure. But and look, you know, everyone out there, just take care and take care of your families and take care of your friends and just remember that you know, there are some things that are more important in life.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.